I always do all of this because I can see whenever I'm wearing black, I can always see bits on my clothes. Cool. Yeah. Hope everybody's good. I'm trying to charge my phone. I think that's on. Hi, come on.
Hey Nick, how we doing?
You okay?
Yeah.
Augustus is here. So yeah, what we do a little bit of introduction.
Yeah, then we'll bring him on after, in a bit.
Yeah. So let's just do a check-in. How are you?
I'm all right. A bit tired, but you know how it goes.
I know exactly what you mean, Corn. I know exactly what you mean. But yeah, hi everybody. Welcome to our She Power He Power session today, Thursday the
17?
17th. Thank you, Cornetta. Thursday the 17th of November. We've been a bit inconsistent recently, not due to any, not based on choice. It's just life. Life has happened, and it. So
Yeah.
it's been really, really tricky. Hang on, I'm just getting my munchies. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you for my little snacks. So yeah, not through choice. It's just been really, really hard for us to get together and stuff, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, just do a bit of a check-in. So I suppose I'm going to talk about my week so far.
Yeah.
This week has been hectic for me, as usual. Been in quite a low vibration. I've got personal things going on. So I've been in a very, very reflective sort of like space and questioning my role within family. What does it mean to be me within family? So yeah, not been in the best space emotionally. But yeah, just been meditating on it. Yeah, just been meditating on it hard. Obviously got a poorly baby at the moment, so she's very, very clingy. So she might interrupt us, actually, if she has enough of her dad. But yeah, just that is me at the moment. Corn, how about you?
Um, it's all right. Ish.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from my daughter spraining her ankle at school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but, you know how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
But no, overall, it's just again. I think it's that time of the season. It's come to the end of the year. You think of what's happened the rest of that part of it, well, most of the year,
Mm-hmm.
and reflect on what's 2023 going to bring.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas is literally around the corner,
Mm-hmm.
and people are thinking of presents and all that kind of stuff. But really and truly,
People are
it's
thinking
just
about
about
money, Corn. Money.
yeah, money. Yeah, you have to prioritize what's important, and it
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like I like takeaways. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
that's my
Yeah.
downfall. So I
Yeah.
sometimes I finish work, I can't be able to go cook.
Mm-hmm.
I cooked today. I was quite good. I did it in my lunch break. But
Yeah.
sometimes, you just have to think, okay, what do I need to prioritize? What's important?
Mm-hmm.
And to you, what might be important to someone else is not the same.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think it's things like that. But
Mm.
overall, I'm just looking forward to my holiday next year. So
Good.
that's what's keeping me
Good.
focused and
Good. Good.
headstrong
Good.
and
Good.
all the other things that might happen next year. So yeah.
And for me, I just think I cannot believe how fast this year has gone. Like,
Gone,
it has gone
gone bad,
so
really
fast.
bad.
It's
I still
frightening.
remember January like it was
Mm.
yesterday.
It
It's
is
crazy.
frightening and it is crazy. So I know like everyone's really feeling the pressure with like the cost of living and stuff at the moment. And there's a lot of stress around Christmas and
Mm-hmm.
affordability. But my advice is just everyone just put your hat where you can reach it. Like, don't overly commit yourself. I think the children of this generation, not all, but the children of just this generation are blessed enough to have a lot of the things that they need. Like,
So
they are very, very blessed.
they're not here for anything, and
No,
everything that they want to have is what do they want to have it, not because they
yes,
need it.
not
There's a
because they
difference.
need it. And yeah,
And I'm,
definitely.
I'm trying to teach my daughter that not
Mm,
everything that you see you must get. You know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
you might get it, and then when you have it, you don't want it. So that
Hmm.
the value of you wanting it in the first place didn't mean
Thank
anything.
you. It's so true.
So,
It is
so
so
yeah,
true. And that's where
teaching
I'm finding
her.
about with the children as well. Like, what is it that you need versus what you want? Like, do you actually need that? You know what I mean? Is it a need, or is it like, yeah, you're just so, yeah, I do, I hear you. And I'm really keen on the children just investing as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not always about spending. Where can you actually invest and make your money grow? So, I've said to RJ that he needs to think about just again, like setting up business again. They've had their sweet business, their sweetie
Mhm.
business before. So maybe it's something that they need to revisit, like what's going to
Yeah,
make you money more so than, you just spending.
that's what it is. So you like to
Mm,
dance, you like to talk.
yeah. Mm.
So why don't you do like a YouTube channel? I'll
Mm,
manage it
mm,
and express your dancing, like do different movements and stuff,
yeah.
and show other children like
Mm,
different techniques.
yeah.
What you learn from dance. Just do something for yourself. Just
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
yeah,
like utilize your brain in a different way that it
yeah,
can generate. Might not
yeah,
straight away generate
yeah,
money, but in
yeah,
time to come.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're watching these children
Mm.
and they're making money.
And it, why can you
That's
not?
so,
And it,
so
it's so
stupid.
true. It's
Like
so true.
really, but
Mhm.
whatever. Clearly, they got a market for it. So
No, it's so true. And I think, to me, I'm kind of like just reflecting the moment now. I think just like with what you're saying there about Liv just, being out there in the world and expressing herself through dance and, as you said, she's already consuming what other children her age are doing. So how can she be of service? How can she inspire? Do you know what I
mm,
mean? Because it definitely will. And that's what I think with the children as well, like how can you inspire others? How can you be of service to others?
mm,
So then you just consume, consume, consume.
mm,
So yeah, yeah,
mm.
yeah, yeah. Interesting times we live in.
So I think we should bring on our lovely, impatient guest today.
Yes, yes, yes. I agree. I agree. So let me
Yeah.
try. Can you add corn, or is it just from my end?
I just think it's on your one, isn't it?
Mm. Okay, one second. Let me have a go. Oh, so I think that's done it. We will see. Let's see if Instagram works for us because we've not had a guest for ages.
No, we
We've
haven't.
literally had a guest for a while. I'm trying to charge my phone at the same time. Oh, there we go.
Hello, Mr. Augustus.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good
Hi.
evening.
I'm in the
Where's
car.
your location? Where's your location?
I'm in the car, and it's
Oh,
cold. It's
Looking
cold.
cozy, looking cozy, looking comfortable.
okay.
It's
Welcome.
crazy. Like I've just come out. I've just come out. Yeah. Picture this. So I've just come out of my apartment block, and I've walked into 13 armed police.
Oh wow.
They've got one of my neighbours in handcuffs. I don't know what
Okay.
is going on. It's absolutely crazy right now.
Oh wow, 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 wow.
Crazy. But
Well, hope everything's okay with that.
In
yeah.
it?
Mhm. Yeah.
How are you ladies doing,
Mhm.
man?
Yeah,
We're
we are
fine.
good.
We're good.
We're good.
We're good.
Reflecting on the past week, the past year, and it, Corn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. It's been a
Reflecting.
very long year, but
Yeah,
we're here.
positive as well, isn't it?
Yes, we're
Right.
here.
Yeah,
We're blessed.
definitely.
We're truly blessed.
No, definitely. But yeah, so I suppose I'll start by saying thank you for joining us this evening. Cornita has been raving about your book for a good few months, to be honest. She's been raving about your book for a good few months.
Okay.
Yeah, she's really, really, really been on it in terms of wanting to read and delve into the nitty gritty of what it is that you do and sort of like your inspiration and your life story sort of thing. So,
Okay.
but what I'll do is I'll sort of like give you a brief introduction about like the heat power session that Cornette has invited you onto. So basically, 2020, I started inviting people on Instagram Live to just sort of like share their work, what it is that they do, because I was finding that the way Instagram works, although you might be following a few people, you don't always get to see what it is that they're doing
Right.
unless you actually go on their pages and then you can actually see. Now, not all of us, sometimes we do need a prompt kind of thing. So
Right.
what I was doing is people that I was interested in the work that they were doing in the community, I was inviting them on to do sort of like a talk discussion, like showcase the work that they're doing. So yeah, I did that for a bit and then I kind of put a pin in it and Juanita asked me to support her with the retreat that she's just done, that she just completed this year. So I had said to Juanita, okay, if you're asking me to help you with that, would you consider jumping on to support me with these he power sessions?
Yeah,
And she said yes. So yeah, that's what we've been doing. We've literally just been
awesome.
connecting with everybody in the community
That's awesome.
to find out what they do. So yeah, that is a
Awesome.
little introduction to the She Power session. So yeah, again, appreciate you joining us this evening.
Yeah.
You've already expressed that there's stuff going on already, and you're here. So again, do appreciate. I'm sure there's other things that you could be doing right now. But
No,
no,
it's
it's all good. It's all
so
good.
good. So good.
But yeah, so I suppose my first question is, who is Augustus? Am I saying your name right? Because I'm big on making sure I'm saying
Yeah,
people's names right.
yeah.
Yeah, who is Augustus, and how do you know Cornita?
Um,
You can answer in either way.
gosh, how do I?
Which
You know
one's the easiest
what?
to answer
It's
first?
a
Yeah.
strange one. To
Mm,
be honest, I looked at the questions that you sent me,
mm.
and I was literally when I was like, "How do you know Cornita?" And I was like, "Matter of fact, yeah, how do I know? How do I like?
It's a good
Where,
question, isn't it?
hold on.
You know
Where
what?
this woman just pop up from?
You know what? You know why he's thinking like, how do you know? You know what it is? I would actually answer this question for you, Augustus. I
Please
think you
do,
know.
cause I was busting my head to try
No,
and
so
remember, and
basically,
I couldn't put a finger on it.
Chantal Leon Hayes was in Ireland
That's it.
with Augustus, and I watched their video
That's it.
on Facebook,
Yeah,
and I was very intrigued with their story and where they come from, as we're going to find out today. And I was like, oh my God, I said, I really could connect with this gentleman, and you know, we could work in the community. Not say our stories are the same, but you know, they are. We've gone through a lot, and obviously we're here still to tell the story, basically. So I reached out to
yeah.
Augustus, and bless him, he reached back, and we had a good conversation on the phone. So this is the first time we're actually seeing each other.
Right,
Oh wow! Oh
right.
Yeah,
wow!
Yeah, it's
so
Wow!
true.
we've
Wow!
only
Wow!
spoke we only spoke on the phone,
Yeah,
Mhm.
and literally had a good conversation and gave me a lot of good advice. And yeah, we just kept in contact ever
yeah,
since. I think you've had a massage the other day with one of my therapists.
yeah. I did,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
I so needed it. Like,
yeah.
Mm.
um, I think sometimes, especially with where men are concerned, I think we can kind of be funny about certain things. I'm like, nah, that's not for me. Beauty therapy is not for me. And I'm like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
I needed that massage to get out every single piece of nut.
Mm, mm,
So
So
mm,
yeah,
yeah,
so that's how we know each other. So obviously, because we was obviously interviewing or talking, having chats with men on here, and I was thinking of the men that I feel that inspires me, and obviously
mhm.
Augustus is one of them who does. So I thought it would be nice to get him on to share his story, and I think um, what you've got to say. Obviously, I'm not going to spoil it. What you got to say, I think it will impact a lot of people, and not just male, but also female as well. So
right.
Mm, mm, mm. So there you go. That answers that question for you.
Yeah, it does. I was trying to figure out, and I couldn't figure out for the
and I
life of
think, you
me.
know what? You get to the fucking because you speak to loads of people, I guess, all the
I
time.
know.
People think, how the
Yeah.
hell did
No.
you know, Connie? So I'm
But
just
no,
so
that's
Sorry if I keep
cool.
on looking to my right. There's a lot of activity, and I'm just trying to
Mm,
just be mindful of my
yeah,
surroundings.
yeah.
That's
No.
something that
Mm,
I have to just be very vigilant and mindful of what's going
mm,
on,
mm,
especially
mm,
like armed police are around as well. But
mm.
please don't think that I'm not paying attention or I'm
no,
distracted or
no,
not. I'm just trying to be vigilant of what's going on around me.
no,
No,
All
that's
understandable.
right.
fine. Are you sure you want to carry on?
Yeah, of
Because yeah,
course.
you sure? Yeah, good,
Yeah,
good, good.
100%.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
100%.
No, that's good.
100%.
That's good. So yeah. So who is Augustus then?
So, who is Augustus? I'm just a young man who literally loves the Lord. Um, I'm a mentor, I'm an author, I'm a motivational speaker. Um, I work with youth. I preach as well. Um, I've been commissioned as an apostle, so I'm actually a full minister. And I work with the police as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really passionate about trying to make some kind of impact in
Mm-hmm.
our youth lives, because I kind of see my younger self
Mm-hmm.
in some of them.
Yeah.
A lot of them are making bad choices, bad decisions. Think that, kind of street life is, it's all that in a bag of chips, and it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And so many of them are just heading down kind of that road that I've been
Mm-hmm.
down, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
just literally just trying to snatch one child at a time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Literally just trying to snatch one child at a time. So yeah, that's just me. Yeah, I'm transparent, very open. I'm not ashamed of the things that where I've been, where
Mm-hmm.
I've come through, because I really feel that it shapes you as an individual.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the biggest thing is that it shows. I was saying today, just how real God is, because when you can come from such levels of darkness, and God can literally transform your life to where my life is at present. It's only God that can do that. It's only Jesus that can do that. And I will always be that kind of walking billboard
Mm-hmm.
that will point to Jesus and say, yeah, that's how I was able to turn my life around.
Okay. Wow. No, thank you. That's a good introduction. Very good introduction. So yeah, no, thank you. So Corn, I'll go over to you. Me and Corny are going to take in turns
Yeah.
to ask
So,
questions. Yeah.
Augustus, you have written a book,
Yes, I have.
and what inspired you to write your story, basically? Um,
Um, so my book is entitled Incarceration, Addiction and the Cross. It's a self-autobiography which journeys myself that dealt with uh, fatherlessness, um, growing up in a single parent home without my father, growing up in a Christian home, but despite my mother doing everything possible to instill good morals, good principles, good values, I still found myself, I still ended up on the streets. I still ended up getting involved in a gang. I still ended up making bad choices, um, walking up and down with a weapon, um, selling gun ammunition, and thinking that the people who I was running up and down with, that I'd find my identity in them. I felt that they were, more of a family than my actual family were. That they
Mm,
cared more about me, because if there was ever a time where I'd get in situations, that they would be there for me.
mhm, mhm.
So, but it wasn't until I was sentenced to 12 years at the age of 17,
Wow.
being the
Mhm.
uh, first young man in the Midlands to get a double figure sentence.
Wow.
Did it
Wow.
actually kind of um, really take me to take a stop and look at my life and look at this whole kind of, at the time we didn't see ourselves as a gang,
Mhm, mhm,
but
mhm,
effectively we were.
Yeah.
We wasn't beefing with other gangs, but we moved as a unit. We moved as a collective. And that was the situation that arose when we went to go and get revenge for an incident that took place. Only to find out when I was in prison that that whole incident that we went to go and take revenge for, the family member, the person who came and says, yada yada yada, this happened. It was a whole bunch of lies. And so many young people now, they're ending up dead. They ended up getting in situations because someone's blown a situation out of proportion. Someone's lied about something. Some girl has got hurt and called her man, called her big brother, called her uncle, and she's blew the situation, and then someone's ended up losing their life. So I had to write that book because I went through this journey as a young man who was troubled, who was lost, who didn't know who they were. And then I ended up in prison, sitting down and really looking at my life because I actually wanted to become a solicitor.
Wow.
That's what I really wanted to be when I was young. My next door neighbor at the time, I was living in Quinton. My next door neighbor, she was one of the first black female solicitors in Birmingham, and she used to give me private. She used to give me private tuition.
Wow.
So, when she used to give me private tuition, I saw the Archibalds, which is kind of the solicitors, their Bible. You know, it has all the cases in there, it has all case laws in there. And I was like, yeah, I want to get involved in law. But I got involved in law in a wrong aspect.
Yeah. Wow. What can I say? What can you say? But yeah. So again, sort of like revisiting Cornita's question, what inspired you to write the book? So your life journey, is it your life journey? Was it the fact that you were trapped there?
It's only one part of it, so to speak. So
Yeah.
it deals with me going through fatherlessness, getting involved in a gang,
Yes.
and then getting a 12-year prison sentence, and then going to prison.
Yes.
And I speak about quite a bit about what took place in prison, because what's taken place now is a lot of our youth for a number of years have glamorized prison. They'll be like, you know, I went to pen easy, and man feel like they got stripes, and you know, their friends are coming to meet them with limousines and champagne when they're being released. And they're glamorizing it, but yet they don't think about the long-term, long-lasting effects that prison has on the individual. Now, whilst in there, I saw known bad men from road. Whilst in there, I saw them crumble. And I saw this time after time where prison does something to an individual. Once you go behind that steel door, you're left with just your own thoughts. You're left with nobody else to impress. You're left with nobody else to try and put on this false facade. It's just you.
Yes.
And you're left alone with your own thoughts. And then so many young men are committing suicide in prison. Even last year, they recorded that the figures around the suicide within the prison population is at its current highest. Now, for me, when I was in there, it was already high. So
Yes.
and
Yeah.
this was over 20 years ago. But if
Yeah.
you're now saying that the suicide rate in prison is
Hmm.
at its highest, then something is really alarming and going on.
Yeah. Hmm.
And the thing is, it's always people that are serving short sentences.
Interesting.
It's not
Mm.
always the people who are serving the long sentences.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah.
So
Mm.
I wanted to detail, I wanted to journey and show individuals that
Mm.
uh, prison is not glamorous.
Mm.
Okay, you may
Mm.
have a TV, you may have a quilt in your cell,
Hmm.
but what about when your sentence is finished?
Mm.
Have you thought about the consequences of having a criminal record?
Yes.
Have you thought about the struggle that it will be to get employment if you're not going to become an entrepreneur?
Yes.
You know, there's so
Mm.
many different things. Even now, I'm
Mm.
still feeling the effects of decisions that I made from over 20 years ago from
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
prison.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
For instance, um, I applied for life insurance
Hmm.
and they was asking certain questions and that affected my life insurance.
It's crazy, honestly. And again, like as you said, these are things that people that probably haven't lived that life or are, as you said, things are glamorized, aren't they? But
Yeah,
Yeah.
no one's really thinking about the deeper impact because I wouldn't have known that
right.
going to prison would impact on life insurance. Those will not be things that,
All
I work
right.
for children. You know what I mean? I work for
Yeah,
children's services, so I know that they ask for your DBS. So I get that part, but I
yeah,
wouldn't have known about things like life insurance and other things that prison has
yeah.
an impact on and how that affects your life. So yeah. Mm,
And if you're someone who's a drug user as well, that
mhm.
also affects your life insurance.
Yeah.
So they don't think about these kind of things.
Mm,
They
mm,
don't.
yeah. 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 Yeah.
And it's really crazy. So
Mm,
I needed to journal this to allow young men to really think about their life
mm,
and what they're doing.
mm,
You
mm,
know,
mm.
prison ends. Uh, it's not Butlins.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
not Butlins. Go meet up with
Mm,
the man, them have a good
mm,
time, and then come back
mm,
home
and it.
and then start over again. It's not that.
Oh, I hear you. I hear you. Wow. Very
Yeah.
powerful. So, I suppose like my question is, what's the feedback been like from your book?
Really had a lot of positive reviews.
Yeah.
We've been running a campaign for the last kind of number of months now.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
been getting sending my book into prisons,
Mm, mm,
and the response has really been phenomenal.
that's good.
Even mothers have been contacting me saying that their
Mm,
sons have read my book and it's
mm.
really challenged them.
Yes.
You know, they
And you know what? Do you know what? Because sorry to cut you. Do you know what I'm thinking? Like one of the things that I've really sort of like I've been meditating on this year, especially, is saying some of the unpopular things. And I think
right.
what you're saying is unpopular. Like you're not. No one keeps it real. Do you know what I'm saying?
There you go.
So I think the fact that parents have reached out to you and said, that the book has touched their child,
Yeah,
those are really big things. And I think
exactly.
someone has to be brave enough to do the job that you're doing as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Someone has to be brave. So yeah, sorry, that just came to me.
So
So yeah.
it's
Mm,
really been impacting
mm,
a lot of people,
mm,
and we've just managed to get it into one of the high security prisons in the United
mm.
States of America.
Wow.
Wow.
So it's doing a lot of work. It's really doing a
Mm,
lot, and it's changing people's lives.
mm,
It
mm,
is changing people's lives. It's
yeah.
touching young men, and
Mm,
they're thinking if if he can change, if he can be that deep into it and then get out, we can
Mm.
as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just
We
wanted
can
to
as well.
share. DJ Moonlight has said that there is a price to pay for these. There is a price to pay, and these youths don't realise the price they have to pay just to fit in with their friends. So yeah,
Very
just want
true.
to share that.
Very
Mm,
true. Very
mm,
true. Very true.
wow, 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 wow.
So yeah, that's why
Mm,
we've really been getting a great response.
good, good.
We do prison ministry as well, and you know, people that has been supporting our campaign of getting my book into the prison to give to
Mm,
prisoners.
mm.
They've really been blessed by it.
No, that's good.
You know how you say your books in prisons, like here and in America?
Yeah,
Like, I'm assuming you do go into schools as well.
yes, I do.
Yeah. Because I'm saying it's nice, obviously, going in a prison and they're reading the book so they can change their lives. So when they come out, they don't, reoffend.
Yeah,
But then it's also good to go into the schools to make sure they don't
yeah,
do anything to
Yeah.
get in the prisons. That makes
very
sense.
true. Yeah, it's.
Mm,
I mean, I was in the school today speaking to, I think, probably 200 kids.
mm,
I work closely with West Midlands and West Mercia Police.
mm,
So we've been doing a lot there, and the schools are now looking to get my books into a lot more schools and have them in the library. Also
mm,
use it as a workbook as well.
mm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Sorry, this isn't a question that Cornita sent across, but again, it just come to me after you were talking about being in schools. You know, like there's that idea about the prison to, or should I say, the school to
School to
prison
prison pipeline.
pipeline. Yeah.
Yeah,
What do you feel like that is a thing?
most definitely. I mean, it was for me. As soon as I got expelled
Mm,
from school, that was almost it. There was um it was inevitable
okay.
because you're now meeting up with people who have been expelled from school as well,
Mm,
and they've got too
mm,
much time on their hands.
yes.
So now they're seeing their friends or seeing other mans on road
Mm,
who've got the latest Jordans, who's got the latest Moncler, and they're like, okay, then where are you getting that from?
mm,
And they'll happily show them.
yes.
They'll
Mm,
happily show them that they're selling drugs. They'll happily show them that they're
mm,
robbing people.
yeah. Mm,
And then it's not too long before they end up in prison themselves.
yeah. Mm. Is it scary? And
And
I
it's a
remember.
vicious circle.
Yeah, and again, just reflecting the moment, I remember when my brother was almost kicked out of school, and the school were desperate to put him into a pupil referral unit. But
Yeah,
because I was doing youth work at the time, literally my anxiety took over, and I was like, I'd rather him be homeschooled. So that's
right.
what we ended up doing. He was homeschooled for a short period while I was arguing his case with the school.
Yeah.
But a couple of his friends did. This was because there was an incident that happened in school, and when I think about it, it wasn't that deep. I actually feel like there's a lot of racial there was racist intentions as to why the school made the decisions that they did. But there were a couple of his friends that did go to the pupil referral unit, and you know what? This could literally be coincidence, but they were there for a short period of time. But those young people are ones that actually went into prison later on. Do you know what I mean? And it could just clearly just be coincidence. It really could just be coincidence. But I just found that an interesting observation to make.
It's it, it's not a coincidence. I think what the public don't realize, and I made a post about this recently, prisons are one of the biggest uh, businesses out here.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
corporate companies that give work to prisons for the
Mm-hmm.
inmates to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, Seven Trent, they have a contract with Winston Green.
Shocking. Shocking.
There's a
Shocking.
piece under your
Mm,
sink. If you look under it, it's like this green
wow.
and yellow wire, and it's got this metal
Mm,
clip on there. The prisoners assemble that. Now, they
mad.
will pay the prison, let's say, for instance, £100,000. But if they was to go out to other outside agencies, they
Mm,
probably have to spend probably 2 million to get that work
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
So that's saving them money.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Then the prison, they get their profit, but then they also send that money, a portion of that money to the government as well. And you got this cycle that continually goes on and on and on. Another one is Blackpool. You've got the grab machines. They assemble those in prisons as well.
Wow.
And the guys are doing 50 hours and they're getting paid £7 a week.
Oh, God.
£7.
Jesus.
But yet they're saving millions.
Yeah, this is me playing devil's advocate now. But I just want to gain your thoughts. Do you think that these companies are doing it with the intention of we're trying to give them something good to do while they're in prison, or do you feel like it is about yeah?
They're using them. They are using. They are using them, and the ones who are making the money, like what Augustus said, is the government.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean.
It's
And
about them saving millions of pounds.
They're not £7.
Listen, they
Work
pay.
that out.
Listen,
And
they
really how
pay an
much it is.
inmate. They pay an inmate on average £7 to £10 a week, right? Now, if you break that down per hour, they're probably earning 30 pence an hour. You tell me on the outside in the community who is going to work for 30 pence an hour?
I know.
But yet these companies,
Not even a child would do that.
I know, it's true,
these
isn't it? The
companies
children
are
depend.
financing. They're financing the prisons and giving the prisons that money, but yet they're saving millions of pounds.
Yeah.
Many years ago, when slavery finished, a lot of people don't realize that prisons were designed for black people. They were designed for black men. They had something called, I believe it's the vagrancy law, that if you didn't work, you would end up in prison for not working. Now, a lot of the slaves back then, when slavery was abolished, they had no jobs, they had nothing, so they would have to go and steal to go and to feed themselves. And yet, you want to give a man 20 years for stealing a loaf of bread? And now what would then happen is they would then be put on the chain gang. And that's where it's all stemmed from. But what they've done now is they've changed it up into a modern day tactic, but it's still the same thing. Nothing's changed.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Corn, over to you.
Well, you kind of answered one of the questions, like what do you do in the community? But what I wanted to kind of ask, what I didn't give you before, is when you was in prison, when did you decide that you wanted to give yourself to the Lord? Like you wanted to change your life in that sense?
After I got tired of seeing the level of violence in prison, after I got tired of seeing the level of people committing suicide on a daily basis, you got to understand something, that the levels of darkness and the levels of demonic forces in prison, it's really crazy. And I remember something my mom said to me when I was a child. She's like, if there's ever a time you really want to know how real God is, just call on the name of Jesus. And in my cell, I decided to do that. And I heard the Lord speak. And he told me to open his word, to open his word. And when I did, it opened Jeremiah 29, verse 11. And for the first time, I experienced his peace. For the very first time, I felt like there was hope.
How far into your sentence was you at that point, Augustus?
I'd only done about 2.5 years.
Okay.
So I still had a long time left. And then that's not even including, I had an attempt to put on my life as well, where I had a contract put on my life where 20 guys tried to kill me in there. But God really preserved my life, man.
Wow.
But at the
Wow.
same time, I really began to see how God was using me and preparing me for ministry from in prison, because I started to have Bible study in my cell. We started to have like fellowship in the cell, and we then took it to the chapel, and I organized this gospel concert, and I got these visitors. Got different visitors from under out to come in and preach, do different things. And that day we saw over 100 different inmates give their life to the Lord.
Wow.
Wow.
Over 100. I saw rapists, I saw murderers crying out to God. And that was the point where I knew like God's hand was on my life.
Yeah. Wow.
Just knew it.
Wow. Amazing. So again, you kind of like touched on it, just like what Cornette was saying, like you're covering a lot of the questions as you're talking, so it's all good. My question is like, what are your thoughts on mental health? And I suppose just to sort of like focus the question a bit more, maybe about like the mental health that you saw in prison, or mental health within our community, as in like the African and Caribbean community, even black male mental health. Like, what are your thoughts?
I think there's a lot of change in it now, but I think black men, we don't know how to communicate our emotions. We don't know how to communicate our feelings. We'll rather try to act tough. We'll rather try to act strong than be vulnerable and say that I'm going through something. And a lot of our young men, they're going through things. They're going through traumas. They've dealt with traumas from as kids.
Yeah.
You know, they've seen their dads beat their mums. They've been put into care from young age. There's a lot of trauma that black men have had to deal with, and they've bottled it up, and then they've used drugs to mask that. But the drugs has made it worse. The drugs has made it worse, and now we're having men having psychotic episodes because they've had all these different traumas and different pressures layered until there has to be some outlets at some point. There has to be. I remember I went through a real a time of real depression whilst in prison. I remember bawling for days, and I couldn't understand what was wrong with me.
Yeah.
For days and days. And imagine having to deal with that in prison, and you can't go nowhere.
Oh no, honestly, I just couldn't. I couldn't.
You can't go nowhere.
I can't imagine. It's
You can't get any support. You can't do nothing.
What was that? I just joined, but are you the man I met at Marcia M's book launch event? You look like the man who wrote the book about being in prison. Yeah. What should I say about being in prison?
I was at Marcia M's Shannon event. I was there.
Okay.
Yeah, it is me.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of men that have dealt with issues and trauma.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then they don't know how to speak about that, because we always have to appear like we're strong.
Absolutely.
We always have to appear that we are this strong black man that can't be
Mm,
broken.
no, I hear that. And like again, like Corneta and I, we revisit mental health often on these
Yeah,
sessions. And one of the key things that again I'm always reflecting on is the idea around the Black and African community, how we're very high functioning when it
yeah,
comes to dealing with mental health. Like, so the perception is that everything's okay because we're
right.
functioning, we're getting on with
Yeah,
things, when really we are going through major depression, we are going through
exactly.
some anxiety, we're just going through things, but because we're so used to having to show up and
Yeah,
hide our pain,
yeah,
I just, again, what you're saying, like in terms of not being able to express our emotions, like, yeah, sadly, historically, I think we've just been conditioned that way.
right.
Um, so I feel like the journeys that like you're on, again, the reason why Corneta and I do what we do is to unpick some of that, like why are we doing those things? What's
Yeah,
happening inside of us? But no, I hear you. I totally agree.
okay.
What are your thoughts, Corn? What are your thoughts?
Tell me what Augusta said. It's true. Men,
Mm,
I think, because how we as females, especially if you're an independent, strong black woman, and then you've got your man and he's feeling a certain way, but because you're showing that you've got it together, he feels that he can't break
mm,
down because he needs to be in the same par as you,
yeah.
because that's what he has to do. But deep
Mm,
down, he's, as much as you know, we have them times where we are feeling weak and we don't want to
mm,
show up, we don't want to talk, and we can do it easily. But for a
Yeah,
mm,
man, it's like if we do it, we're showing that we're weak, we're
mm,
vulnerable.
mm,
People can walk over us. We're gonna
mm,
get labeled.
mm,
And that's not the case. It's just
mm,
literally it's about communicating as man and woman and saying, you know
mm,
what, I'm feeling like this today. I need to
mm,
just have some time for myself. And
mm.
it's not because I'm seeing the next woman or anything like that. I literally just need that time out
Yeah.
from me to just not do
Mm,
anything. Maybe take time
mm,
off work or take away time from the
mm,
family.
mm,
But if you communicate that with your partner and you say, this is how I feel,
mm,
it should be okay to go away and do that, and
mm,
vice versa. But I
mm.
just think that because, in the community, if you show that you're a certain way, you get a stigma that, oh, he's
Yeah.
weak, man. Look at him, look
Mm,
at his,
yeah.
he can't even
Mm,
hold it together, and that's it. And then you feel like you never can come back to how you want to be because of that
mm.
reason.
right.
Definitely.
And as black men, we really need our black women to have our backs.
Yeah.
I hear you. I do. I'm
We need
literally,
you.
it's so true.
We
Yeah,
need you to
it is
uphold
true.
us. Do you understand what
Absolutely.
I'm saying?
Mm,
We're tired um of hearing the stereotypes. Your
mm,
waist, man. You're whatless. And
mm-hmm,
everything else. We're tired of that. We get that
mm.
from other races.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't need
Mm,
our black
mm,
women
mm.
to
Can
jump
also,
on that
well,
bandwagon
no,
as
it's
well,
true.
because then we're
Mm,
not gonna open up and talk and say,
mm,
you know what, I've been trying to get employment and I'm finding it hard. I'm
mm,
struggling.
mm,
You know what?
mm.
Matter of fact, I feel like going and committing crime.
Yeah. Mm, mm. I hear that.
So
I
But
hear
we
that.
yeah,
need our black
Mm,
women to tell and go, no, you know what, black man, you stand tall, you stand strong.
absolutely. Yeah,
I see
absolutely.
you as a king.
Mm, mm,
Start speaking those affirmations to our
definitely
men.
agree with
mm,
that. Definitely agree with that.
Matter of fact,
100%.
absolutely.
start reaching out to your sisters and say, listen,
Mm,
I got a black man here and he
mm,
needs some support. Do
mm,
you have any work?
mm. Yes.
And it's not
Yes.
about, well, turn around and say, well, you know what, he should just do it for himself.
Mm, mm,
We're
mm.
supposed to move as a unit.
Absolutely.
It's true.
We're
Mm,
supposed to move
mm,
as one.
mm, mm,
But no, we want to tear down our black men.
mm,
So true. I
mm,
agree.
We want to tear them down to their lowest denominator.
Mm.
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 Yeah, no, I do
Mm.
hear that.
And
And I
then we
do.
expect, we expect our men to have it all together, and you, I might step on some toes here, but a lot of women that have these expectations of a black man and who they want to date and who they want to get married, but yet you're not willing or prepared to see the potential in a black man. You're not prepared, and that's why my wife, when we got married, let me say this, I was going through my darkest period, but she saw the potential, and I've heard it before. I've heard black women say, you know what, I'm not marrying no man for his potential. And you know what? That's why some of you are still single right now. That's why you're still at home in your bed by yourself.
And what we don't realize is that, you know, even in terms of energy, you know, again, I'm a firm believer that, like, you know, like, you are a sum total of the people that you spend most of your time with. So I just feel like naturally, if you have a woman or even a man that vibrates high, you know, you will match that vibration and you two will uplift each other. You know what I mean? Which is exactly like what you're saying. Like, you're supposed to move as a unit. Like, we are supposed to do this together. And I see it in my own relationship. I see it with my own husband, you know, like, I see his challenges, but I also see the things that he observes and he uses to uplift him, like things that I do, and vice versa as well. So, you know, I do hear what you're saying. It's tough, and I do think black women also feel like they are victims, because both sides are victims. We both hold a lot of pain, and as they say, hurt people, don't they? Like, sometimes we're hurting each other, not even consciously. Sometimes it's subconsciously, not realizing that that's what we're doing. But we do need to work on that, and I do think we do need to tune into the vulnerabilities of both sides. Like, black men should be allowed to be vulnerable. Black women also should be allowed to be vulnerable as well. So, yeah. What are your thoughts, Dawn?
A lot of thoughts. No, I agree with both what you said. And I can actually say that I actually was one of those females who, if you weren't, like, I've been out with guys who's got it and I've been out with guys who haven't got it, basically. And I think we've a stereotype that we've got something going on for us. What have you got to match us? Yeah. Kind of thing. And then, but then in the next breath, you can have a guy who hasn't got it and you try to support them and show them that, you know what, you can get what you want to get, but work with me. Like, you're supposed to be in a relationship and build each other. If you're in a relationship and you're trying to build your man and he's not allowing you to help to build him, sorry, but then there's a point there you have to say goodbye, because there's only so much you can do. And they have to have that self-respect for themselves to say, okay, you know what, I've got a woman there who wants to help me, but I don't want the help. You can't force it upon someone. You know what I mean? You've got to just know when to say goodbye. So yes, I hear you. Some people say, oh, I want a man who's got money. I want a man who can do this. I've never been that materialistic person. I want a man who's got it in his head. So when he knows that he wants to, you know what, I want to have that empire. Okay, how you gonna get about it? Write it down. Let's work towards it. But sometimes they don't want to listen. So I hear you, but it takes two. And it's only so much you can work with it, and then eventually it doesn't work, unfortunately.
I just think I think both sides, we both experience trauma to one degree or another, and I think it's intergenerational as well. I think there's a lot of healing that our parents didn't do, or our grandparents didn't do, and our great grandparents, because of the life experiences that they had, unfortunately. But I definitely think that it is the journey of our generation to break those cycles. Like, that is what we are here to do. We are here to break the cycles and to heal for the next generation. So, yeah.
What on earth is going on?
Is it my turn, Paul?
Yeah.
Okay, then cool.
You'll see more police arriving, sorry.
No, that's okay. I did mental health, Corn, it's yours.
Is it mine?
Yeah.
Amen. Oh yes. So, what are your thoughts on Black Lives Matter?
As the organization or as black people?
Black people.
Black people.
Organization of the Black people.
Um, let me put it this way. I'm tired of. I'm tired of seeing. This week, let me put it this way. I watched a video where someone had called the police on a 9-year-old.
What?
Because in a certain part in America, they have these flies they're kind of like locusts, and they just kind of destroy all the vegetation.
Mm-hmm.
And this gentleman decided to call the police on the 9-year-old child. And the police came out. And you'd think, a 9-year-old child, like, what harm are they coming? There's no danger. There's no threat to life. But you want to call the police on a 9-year-old child.
Mm.
Then I saw a video where a Black Army veteran who had lost both his legs, he'd lost both his legs in the war, and I saw he was on his own property. The police asked him for identification, and he was like, well, I don't need to verify myself because I'm on my own property and I haven't committed a crime. But yet they manhandled this disabled black man that had no feet. So, does Black Lives Matter? Straight, it matters. I'm tired of seeing it, and it's getting worse.
It's true.
It is getting worse. It's getting worse. They're targeting our kids. A 9-year-old child, you know. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there, man, because that would just really, yeah.
Yeah. No.
And then I agree, 100%. It's getting worse, and this is where we need more people like yourself, Augustus, and others who have experienced things to be in the community more. I think especially the youngsters, they need to see more people like us within the community, that we've gone through certain things, but we've bounced back and we're here. But we have to try and stop them from going through certain things so they don't have to experience those things. Like even driving, you're scared if you get stopped of what the policeman are going to do to you. You got to make sure you got your camera. You got to make sure your camera's not. You know what I mean?
It's good saying that I'm needed in the community, but when the community and the black community, they have to come together as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
They have to come together as well, and I think we've treated certain individuals, especially people like myself who are ex-offenders who have turned their lives around. We pick and choose who we want to work with. We pick and choose who we want to work with, and I'm kind of tired of seeing that. I get more support from people that are not my own colour, and I find that absolutely crazy.
I hear that.
I find it absolutely crazy when I put out a call. When I put out a call to send books to the prisons, I'm expecting the church to get involved, but yet non-Christians are 9 times out of 10. They're probably the first ones that are sowing into this. That's what I'm saying. So there's a lot that we need to do, and there's a lot that we need to work on.
I
Mm.
agree.
as people, and
Yeah.
especially as Black people. There's a lot that we need to do.
You know
Yeah.
my thoughts on that one, Augustus.
Yeah,
Do you want to share them, Corn?
There's another time and place for that
Yeah.
one.
yeah.
But
No, that's
remember,
fine.
Nick, we're going to make sure we save it because it's 1 minute
I
past
know.
9.
Also,
Okay, cool.
So,
What I was gonna say, I think it will be all right, Con. To be honest,
um,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think it will be
okay.
all right. We'll
Well,
flow.
our last question. So the last one
I was
is,
gonna,
where can
sorry,
people
Con.
find your
Sorry,
book?
sorry,
Oh,
Con. Sorry to interrupt. What I was gonna say on what Augustus was saying in
okay.
regard to the support within the Black community. Again, I share a similar thought. Like, I'm all for our community, but I do find that we can be the most critical and judgmental of each other as well, and I'm not sure what that's about. I do think that that's also to do with the pain that we carry. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I just think we're just all on this healing journey, aren't we? We're all on this healing journey. There's been a few questions. I don't know if the questions or shares. Let me have a quick look. um so DJ Moonlight said that he, or they, don't believe in the organization Black Lives Matter. And yes, Black Lives Matter. I do understand exactly what DJ Moonlight is saying when you share that. Jeanette Machete, or Machete, I'm not sure how you're pronouncing that. It's atrocious. The stigma over our rights not being met is too much. Girls being strip searched, boys being beaten like they are criminals over a stop and search violation. I do agree. And then DJ Moonlighter said some of the leaders are threatened by your ministry. And then Jeanette has said, oh my goodness, yes, sending books to the prison to help them, etc. We've got a long way to go. Thank you, Augustus, for sharing your website. But yeah, yeah.
you're welcome. Thank you so much for having me on.
So what was you
Thank
going to
you.
say, Kum? Sorry, what was you going
Those
to
are
say?
the last questions. Like, where can people find you, and where can, if you want to buy your book, where they need to go and buy it?
So they can go to https / settingthecaptives3ministries.com. You can get my book on there, and any information as well about myself. You'll find it on there, which I've added to the chat.
Okay, good. Thank you.
And then my last question is, do you have anything lined up for the future? How is 2023 and beyond looking?
Watch this space.
I like it.
Literally, no, that's good. That is good. That is good.
No,
But
thank you,
no,
Augustus, because I know you're a
yeah,
busy man
mm,
to get hold of, and I know it's your time is precious. But yes, like I said, we will collaborate and
No
we do
worries.
something together. But yeah, thank you for your time, as I said, and thank you for sharing your story
You're
and
welcome.
impacting what you've done so far, and I'm sure you're going to impact many people in the future as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah,
definitely,
Jeanette, get at
definitely.
me, man. Get at me.
Mm,
I'm here. I know who you are now.
yeah, no, but no,
Well,
thank
thank you
you.
so much,
Well,
guys, and bless you,
no,
man.
no,
Yeah.
definitely. I hope that situation's sorted outside your house, the car.
No,
Yeah.
there's 6 police officers out here left.
Mm,
Wow.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm,
I'll fill you in Cornita later on.
yeah.
Yeah.
All
Okay
right.
then. All right
All
then.
right,
All
then,
right.
Thank
guys.
you. Bye bye.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye
Bye bye.
Bye.
God
bye.
bless.
Bye
Bye.
bye.